Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, I finally got it. You guys know I have been chasing the Larceny Barrel Proof. This is the new C924 with the new jacket. Shout out to my man, Scott, for picking this up for me while he was in New York. Let's get it.
Bottle drop, bottle drop.
I don't know what it is about this new Larceny that I've had such a hard time getting. I am normally on top of my game when it comes to Larceny. This one this year has been a challenge to get. Shout out once again to my man Scott. He was in New York over the Thanksgiving holiday and he called me. Thankfully, he's not a big fan of Larceny Barrel Proofs. He finds them to be just a little too hot, and he does like hot proof stuff. Also, thank you to Dennis and Bowie for reaching out to me because they knew that I couldn't get one, and as soon as Scott sent me the picture and I told him to pick it up for me, I'd say probably the next day, Dennis reached out to me on behalf of Bowie trying to get me one. So look, I love the bourbon community, man. We are always looking out for each other, but I really want to get into this bottle because I've been chasing this thing. Now, as you can see, I've gotten into it a little bit and I do have my thoughts. Last year, well, not last year, at the beginning of the year, the A124 just, it didn't do it for me. I think I said I thought that one was just like it had potential, but it was off. I know I really liked the B. The B was really good, had some like floral notes, a little bit of fruit forward notes, had some caramel on it. And then I said something like a citrus with a slight orange peel and dipped in caramel or something like that. But I was really feeling the B. Now you guys know, I thought A123 was gonna be bourbon of the year in 23. Then C924 came out. Now between A and C coming out, I did have some other bottles that came out that kind of, you know, push those a little further down the line. But nonetheless, those were still great bottles. Let's get into the nose. The only thing I'm picking up is like wood. I'm just like picking up like old wood. Now, if you guys are a fan of the channel, well, there was a little bit of like a perfume note and a spicy note. Almost like a sandalwood, like a perfume, sandalwood, spicy. And a little, just a touch of like a vanilla creaminess. All right, so if you guys are fans of the channel, you know my nose normally doesn't come alive until I take a sip. So we are going to get into the sip. But before we get into the sip, I would love for you guys to join me over on Patreon. Like I said before, we've got 2 tiers, bottle drop tier, bourbon drop tier. Once I get up to 10 members on each tier, I'll start getting some samples out to you guys. You know, I'll try to pick 3 names from each tier and get a 1 ounce sample to the people on the bottle drop tier and a 2 ounce sample to the people on the bourbon drop tier. Also, don't forget about the Westward picks. They are phenomenal. 17202, that was everyone's #1, but lately, 412 has been doing it, man. 412 has been doing it. I shot the review. Audio was a little funny. I'll probably shoot another one anyway. Back to the Larcenys. So, the proof on Larcenys has never crept above 126. I would love to see a 127, 128, maybe even a 130. Now, Scott might not want to see that because Scott says he thinks that they drink a little hot. I don't necessarily think they drink hot. They can be a little spicy. I don't think they drink hot though. Like some of my Old Forester barrel proofs, like the blue labels, some of those can drink really hot. Same thing with the 1920s. Sometimes the 1920s can drink super hot. Like it starts to go down and like you really know it's there. Even after you're finished, you know that you just got finished drinking some hot proof stuff. All right, let's get into the palate. The wait is over. The wait is over. It has not changed since I first cracked it. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna break down the notes for you. So first thing that comes in is like this, a slight touch of like a Dr. Pepper sweetness, a little bit of like Swedish fish slash cinnamon red hots. You get this very oaky, woody note. You get a heavy dark chocolate on the back, and then it turns into nothing but like, well, it's all caramel on the mid, but then it turns into dark chocolate, but it is nothing but like super rich caramel, like butterscotch. This does have a savory note going on. I am really feeling this bottle. And like I said, I got it down a little bit, you know, just to let it breathe. I have my thoughts on it. I was out the gate. I was like, okay, we might have a contender for being the best Larceny Barrel Proof this year, because I did really like the B. But you know, Larceny Barrel Proof, I love the new jacket on the thing. They did come out with this new label. The new label, believe it or not, is a little easier to read on the front, but harder to read on the back. Now, if you do have an issue reading the back, there is a QR code that takes you directly to the Larceny website. But putting the bottles side by side, you see how they've changed. This one you could barely ever read anyway because the print was so small. This one you can read, and it's basically the same story that is on the front is on the back. They just go a little more in detail and talk about his questionable values on the front of the bottle. But as far as the front of the bottle goes, I got to give a shout out to my man Sean at Mashing, I was about to say Mashing Drum, Mashing Metal, because Sean, when we did a live stream, Sean was the one who pointed out, you know, the keyhole being missing, and he likes that. And I kind of like that too, but I really am digging this new label, man. I really do like it. They didn't change up the juice. It's still 6 to 8 years old. It still has the same mash bill, which I forgot already. I think it's something like 68, 14, 12, something like that. It's something similar to that. I can't remember. Those numbers probably didn't even add up. But no. So everything stayed the same. Mash bill stayed the same. The amount of time that they aged it stayed the same. So 6 to 8 years old. Other than that, you know, just the label. And like I said, I'm digging a new label. So you guys can put in the comments whether or not you like the new label versus the old label. All right, let's get back into the nose one more time. Oh, the nose has gotten sweeter, like sugary sweeter. It still has like that sandalwood though. Like that sandalwood comes out like a spicy wood. I don't even get like a perfume note anymore. It's kind of turned into like a mellow floral note. All right, back into the palate, because this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part of it. Let's get back into the palate. Second sip, you still get all of that. You get the cinnamon red hot. You get a little bit of that Dr. Pepper note. You get that savoriness. You get that drying. You get that woody note. Dark chocolate in the back. A touch of spice. It's just a touch of spice on the back of the palate. My only complaint with this bottle is that it seems to be quick. Like the palate is fine. It's got a medium palate, but I've got to change this around because I keep wanting to point to my right. It's got a medium palate, and it's like the flavors are there and they're good and they're rich, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Like the only thing that I have left now in the finish is just like this spicy note. It's like, I've said it before, like a jalapeno spice. It's just not like black pepper, more like a jalapeno spice, and like a little bit of like a orange peel. So there's a little bit of like that orange zest note and jalapeno spice. And to some of you guys out there watching at home, you're probably like, that is not the best tasting finish. No, it did have some dark chocolate, did have a little bit of just spice on the back end. That drying woodiness is still there. But like I said, the finish, and this is the first time I think I've had that combination on a finish. I've gotten like that jalapeno spice before, but this is more of like orange zest, orange peel, and like a jalapeno spice. So like I said, that is my only knock. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. I don't want to hold you guys too long. Is this worth the chase? I am going to chase every Larceny Barrel Proof because I am just a fan of them. Even their bad ones, the ones that I don't think are that great. And should I even call them bad? Most of the time they're still better than most of your weeded stuff out there that's on the shelf, in my opinion. But these Larceny BPs, man, and I would really love to see one like in the 130s. Maybe even because I know they're about to roll out like the single barrel program on the Larceny BPs. So maybe we'll get like a 130, maybe even higher, to see what that one really tastes like. Is it worth retail? As far as I know, these are around $65 retail. I paid a little more. Scott was in New York. It was, I think, maybe $5-10 more, something like that. I think that they are worth at least 10 to 15 over retail. 65, so you're looking at 75 to close to 80. So I think that they're at least 10 to $15 over retail. Definitely worth retail all day. One great barrel proof weeder. Who is it for? It didn't really kick me in the nose, and believe it or not, it didn't really, like I said, it had a spice in it, but didn't really burn going down. I don't know if I would be a little hesitant to give this to an intermediate bourbon drinker, because I'm still warm on the inside, but it didn't burn. So I think I would leave this one more so to the experienced bourbon drinkers. Like the intermediate bourbon drinker, definitely not a new bourbon drinker, but intermediate bourbon drinkers, I think they would still find it kind of spicy. So I would be a little hesitant to give it to an intermediate bourbon drinker. Experienced bourbon drinker, all day long. Will it always be on the bar? After having my first sip, I was so blown away that I was like, when the Virginia ABC gets them, I'm going to buy a backup. And probably a backup of that backup, because I think they are that good. And normally, because I am still seeing B524s, like I go in the store and I'm like, I'm looking on the shelf, I'm looking for the new goldish copper color label. And I'm like, I'm like looking like, where's it at? And I'm seeing the new like 92 proofers. I don't know who's buying all that crap, because I am not a fan of the the lower proof Larcenys, but I am not seeing these. But when these do come, they probably will stay, and I will pick up a backup and a backup of a backup. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head into a drop. Till next time.